Hey, what's up everybody? I'm Joe Ball for High Def High School, and these are your 2022 Koons Lincoln Bethesda High Def Highsman nominees for the state of Maryland.
Our first nominee is Kendall Johnson, one of 3 players nominated on John Kelly's Quince Orchard squad, who just won their second straight state championship game in 2022. Kendall Johnson was one of the most productive two-way players QO has ever had. He was on every special team squad, rarely left the field, and never showed signs of fatigue, according to Coach Kelly. He made plays in all 3 facets of the game. High Def High School got to check him out this year, and let me tell you, Kendall was a game stopper. He disrupted offenses throughout games. Kendall caught 24 passes for 530 yards and 10 touchdowns on an offense that spread things around. He scored twice on the defensive side of the ball too, stacking up 56 tackles, 3 sacks, and 5 tackles for a loss. Casey Heath from Kent Island led his offense all the way to the state title game in 2022. Coach Brian Sofanowski glows when he speaks of Casey. Calls him an amazing young man to have coached the last 2 seasons. He's not only a leader on the field and the classroom, Sofanowski says he's an incredible young man with a good heart. He excels at almost everything he does because of his work ethic off the field and in the classroom. 20 years Coach Sof has been leading young men, and he calls Casey one of the most enjoyable he's ever encountered. 2,588 yards, 41 touchdowns. Casey ranks 7th in MPSSAA history for touchdowns scored. He was the Bayside MVP and first team on both offense and defense for the all-Bayside team. 6'4", 240-pound Kevin O'Connor from Easton, Maryland is headed to Duke in the fall. He had a lot of big-time schools with high-end education standards chasing him because, well, he's got QB IQ, and he's just mean at linebacker and rushing off that edge. He's got a sense of levity and an intense competitive nature. He's a 3-star linebacker and one of the top 100 backers in the U.S. Dylan Watkins is the 2022 Howard County Times Offensive Player of the Year. He's fast, he's big, 1,278 yards, 15 touchdowns. He carried the Raiders to a perfect regular season, and 2 games into the playoffs, Dylan was nimble for a big guy, good hands out of the backfield, and then when he got in the open field, oh boy, he wasn't coming down easy. 1,424 all-purpose yards, and Dylan scored 16 touchdowns on the ground, as well as 1 in the air. And one of the highest profile candidates in the hunt for the hardware is DeMatha's Jason Moore, 6'6", 280 pounds. He's headed to the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio next year. Jason signed with Ohio State before his senior season. The 4-star is an Under Armour All-American and the 7th best defensive lineman in the nation. Maxwell Moss from Archbishop Spalding had a crazy season this year. He was nominated by several of his opponent coaches for the Koons Lincoln Bethesda High Def Highsman hardware. He runs a 4.6, and it's so smooth, he just runs away from everyone in space. He stands 6'1", but he plays a lot taller than that. He can high point the ball, and you better bring a friend to try and bring him down in the open field. He's solid, and he breaks tackles like it's his job. Dylan Dunathan is a 2-sport athlete and a 2-way standout in football, a first-team All-Met linebacker and a really big body, carrying the ball at 6'1", 220. He rushed for 1,961 yards this year and scored 24 touchdowns, including 12 in the playoffs alone. He had more than 3,000 yards and 44 touchdowns dating back to his junior year. He caught a touchdown pass this year as well. On defense, he made 60 tackles, 21 of which were for a loss. Dylan put a shot in the arm of a once proud team that has struggled off the field a few years back, and that struggle impacted the on-field product. Coach Josh Klotz has put the sting back in the Hornets and made a habit of handing the ball to this 2-time team MVP who just bulldozed defenses, and once he gets up ahead of steam, he's got some breakaway speed in space. Maximus Jones. Coach Mike Pfisterer says Max is just an exceptional player with a high football IQ. He's got tremendous vision, cutting, and elusiveness running the football. Coach P told me that when they went with Max as the full-time guy in week 4, his team found an identity. He plays linebacker as well. He loves the weight room and is a selfless teammate. Max was one of the best running backs in the state in 2022. Coach's first-team All-County running back in Anne Arundel. The Capital newspaper first-team All-County running back in Anne Arundel. Baltimore Sun Player of the Year nominee. He carried the ball 246 times for 1,538 yards and 21 touchdowns. He averaged 128 yards per game. He caught a touchdown pass as well, and he threw one. He had 9 catches for 149 yards. On the defensive side of the ball, he had 49 tackles. Iverson the Rocket Howard is a 4-star, smaller back that busts defenses in the mouth. Of course, you can only say the smaller part of that for a couple more months. Just a sophomore, he's growing up on the big stage. Already in his first 2 years of high school, he's a 2-time state champion. He is fast and he runs like a big back. An Edger and James with game-changing speed. SEC, ACC, and Big Ten schools are all chasing Howard. Desmond Umeozulu is a 4-star, 6'6", 230-pound force on the defensive side of the ball. He will be in Columbia next year in a Gamecock uniform. He belongs in the SEC, chasing down quarterbacks, swallowing up running backs. He's just nasty on that defense, and he was a huge part of C.H. Flowers dominating football in their region in 2022. His list of offers was, well, everyone. He had 20 sacks this year and 14 tackles for a loss. He was selected to the Washington Post second-team All-Met squad. Another big problem for offenses, Jalen Harvey. Oh boy, this guy was disruptive all the time. So Coach John Kelly has a third Quince Orchard Cougar in the hunt for Koons Lincoln Bethesda High-Def Highsman Trophy. Jalen Harvey is just nasty chasing down quarterbacks. He's just a junior, and Penn State is chasing Jalen. As well, a few other Big Ten, Pac-12, ACC, and SEC teams are knocking on Coach Kelly's door, trying to bring home the big defensive end. He's a 4-star edge rusher, rated the 18th best in the nation. Caleb Hart, the North Point linebacker, was the best athlete on Coach Bill Condo's team in 2022. The Military Bowl DC Touchdown Club High School Football Player of the Week is a good enough honor, but that came on the state title game weekend as the linebacker turned smash-you-straight-ahead quarterback moved his team to a championship on the state's biggest stage. Over 200 yards total offense and throwing 2 touchdown passes and running for another one was something for a guy who took over the quarterback spot mid-season to boost a troubled offense. Evan Austin is a 6', 175-pound junior who is an all-around athlete with lots of D1 offers and, well, 4.4 speed. Check this out. He runs the 100 in 10.9. That means you ain't catching him. He's got a heck of an arm, and with that speed, he's going to be a menace in the hunt for a state title next year. He's just a junior, and he led his team all the way to the title game in 2022. Austin was the Frederick County Offensive Player of the Year. Some outstanding student athletes showcasing the incredible talent here in the DMV and specifically in the state of Maryland. Stay tuned this week to find out who's going to take home the hardware for the Koons Lincoln Bethesda High-Def Highsman Award in the state of Maryland. You know, we would like for you to subscribe to us on YouTube, High-Def High School. Follow us right here on Twitter and Instagram at JoeBall777. Celebrating and lifting up student athletes all over the DMV. For High-Def High School, I'm Joe Ball.